Okay, putting myself together, got my little hat on. What do you want now? I've got everything I need. What's that? Oh, I like the way you think. He likes the new intro. He likes the way we're talking. How about we just throw the intro like that? Testing 1 1 1 2. Good to have you guys back. Hey, we continue to do these little tactics and these little talks, and most of all, so glad to have you guys with us. If you like all the content, all the comedy, all the hockey jersey unbaggings and everything like that, we do pretty much everything on here. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more, and that will definitely support me going forward. And coming up, this idea, putting this channel together, was really back in late July with me and a handful of other b-boys. And quite honestly, why do you have the weird one behind the mic? It's weird. But you guys like it. It's cool. And this guy, appreciate you. But I'll tell you one thing that is going down. I know I'm dressed up in Vancouver Canuck jersey right now today, but it's not really about hockey, because I do have a hockey something coming up that has a little bit of a expansion feel to it, and you'll be seeing something like that. Oh no, it might be on here now. This might be a little bit of future JJ sessions down the road. In any sense, let's get right to the point. You people who are just not really in sports, you're really not into it, but there's many sports fanatics that are wondering, why in the world? People are like, why in the world do you need expansion? You're going to grow well, first of all, I don't want to feel like Biden, okay? When somebody tells you, well, it's expensive. So what? It builds the economy. It builds businesses. It builds the I swear I wouldn't talk politics on here. Seriously, if you have somebody who tells you that, they need to be in the nut house. But I digress. In the long run, expansion sometimes milks a product and you don't get the best of them. But lately there's been a bunch and a handful. So I want to kind of burn through this as much as possible. Many people don't want to see expansion because it's, like I said, milking the product, just spreading out the talent of who really is good and great and whatever, and just it. Sometimes you give expansion to a city that doesn't want to support anything. So, how about we start with the easiest one, and that's baseball. Baseball wants to go to 32 teams, but there's a commissioner that nobody likes, Rob Manfred. He did in fact say he wants to go to 32 teams, but he needs to figure out the Oakland situation about the A's going to Vegas. He also needs to figure out, which actually just recently got fixed, and it's kind of sus, but it is official. The Tampa Bay Rays are staying. They're getting a new ballpark in 2027, and the Rays are not moving to Montreal. They're getting a ballpark, which is technically what they needed. They're getting one. They're not moving anywhere. So that leaves Montreal out, which is, in my personal opinion, probably the first place you think of. They already have Olympic Stadium. They can knick-knack some little renovations, and they bring the Expos back like that. But there's no other city that has a ready-made ballpark. All you need is 35,000 seats. You don't need to be the Dodgers, who have a 55,000-seat Dodger Stadium that's been up forever. You don't need a Coorsville that's like 54,000. 35 to 40,000 is all you need. And nobody has one, unless you decided to really, really rip apart a AAA stadium and then just try to fill something in. The top 5 cities right now that are looking for it, besides Montreal, and it's in no particular order. No real particular order. It's Charlotte, Nashville, Portland, Oregon, Orlando, and there's one right at the tip of my tongue, and I can't think. Oh yeah, Salt Lake City. It's been all over Facebook and Instagram of all these diagrams of, hey, this is what our ballpark's going to look like. Vegas has been doing that lately. Or they want to rip apart the Tropicana area, and that's where the new ballpark's going to be. But is Vegas going to really give a damn about the A's? Well, the owner of the A's don't even give a damn about the A's, period. And he's a billionaire. But they wanted a new ballpark in Oakland, and they're not getting it. So, and unfortunately, I fear and I feel bad for the city of Oakland, because the Warriors got a new building in San Francisco. The Raiders moved to Vegas. You don't have anything left. And I fear and I'm sorry about Oakland, but this is the day and age of the economy. So I've seen diagrams for Salt Lake in a ballpark. I've seen some for Orlando, and they've already called themselves the Dreamers. It's pretty cool. And Nashville and Charlotte definitely can and would definitely be baseball markets. Portland, Oregon is also up there as well. Names I don't know. Nobody knows. That's a little bit of the talk that Rob Manfred has to get to. All 5, including Montreal, would be perfect. You don't need to really get anything else. You don't need to go to Vancouver, or you don't need to go to Omaha or any other type of big city that doesn't have anything. Those are 6 cities that are going to vie for expansion probably the next 5 years. And baseball has a lot of people that want to play. There's a lot of places to play. And that's a good piece. That's a good starting point. So does that milk product out? There's a lot of people that play baseball. So that's a good way to start this little conversation we're having. The NBA is already debating Seattle and Vegas are coming someday down the road, probably as much as 2025 for the NBA. They will go to 32 teams eventually. It's already been talked. It's practically already in a pen. They just need to put together the pieces to bring the Sonics back, and who knows what Vegas is going to name their team. I don't have any. I like naming teams and all of that. I've seen a bunch of concepts on YouTube and Instagram, and if you type Google and whatever, you could do whatever. I saw one real good one for the Scorpions. That'd be pretty fly. We talked about an NHL. They've already gone to 32. They're probably not going to go to 36 anytime soon. But if you did, my immediate 4 would be Houston, Kansas City, Quebec, and Hartford. And Atlanta would be a little bit of a wild card. And then MLS is just expanding every other single year, and St. Louis just expanded. And now they're bringing another team in San Diego, which is actually pretty cool. And you're just expanding every day, because the MLS is a growing organization, and the product is phenomenal. I'm still a soccer guy. I like soccer. I played 18 years. I still watch MLS when I can. I like the EPL, and I like the Bundesliga, and even the French La Liga, and then the French First Division and La Liga. I like all that. But the MLS is starting to grow, and if you want an expansion team, you got a $500 million in your bank account, you could put an expansion fee, and quite honestly, it would be they just know how to run the business now. Simple as that. And by the way, Pittsburgh MLS, make it happen. You can play in Acrisure Stadium. There's no doubt. There's no question about that. You can make that happen. And I pretty much got to the gist of like most of the 4 North American organizations. Now, there's the NFL. You got 32 teams. They're not expanding. Forget that. Just forget it. If you went to 36, you'd have to go back. You literally have to go back to the old days of the old 6 divisions. That's not going to happen. Trust me, it's not happening. And then there's all this talk about Jacksonville should just move to London. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Do you really want to be a booker and just have a game at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is right about 4 in the afternoon in London? Right about that. I don't have the technology for me to look at this moment, but there's not really a plan for NFL expand. There is none. Roger Goodell knows better. You already moved the Raiders to Vegas. Jacksonville's getting a stadium renovation. And everybody's pretty much set. Houston's the last expansion, and that was 2002, and they can't get the Oilers back because Tennessee Titans own the rights to all the Oilers gear. Would used to be great being the Oilers again? Absolutely, but the Tennessee franchise itself owns everything about the Oilers. But the Texans, not a bad sight. Their just ownership is a little sus. So there's really no necessarily, that's the stupidest thing really was San Diego moving to LA, the Chargers moving to LA. I continue to say this, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face. Nobody in LA cares about the Chargers. They even played in the soccer stadium where the LA Galaxy play, and it only holds 35,000. I watched a game with Kansas City versus the Chargers. It was 80-20 Kansas City people. And that's kind of like everywhere. It's like that with the Rams and the Chargers when they were both playing in SoFi, which is a gorgeous stadium. They just had WrestleMania there. It's not a full-blood LA market because there's a ton of things to do in LA. A ton of things. LA has two of everything. But nobody cares about the Chargers. But you tear down Jack Murphy Stadium or Qualcomm or whatever it was in San Diego. You wanted a new football stadium. That's what the owner, Dean Spanos, wanted. The state wouldn't give it to him. So he packed his bags and moved to LA. So LA has two teams. Then they just built a 35,000 seat college stadium in San Diego, in the same place that Jack Murphy was. It's home to San Diego State University, and it's going to be home to the San Diego team that's going to be coming into the MLS, which makes you didn't want to build bigger because, quite honestly, the Chargers need to move back. There's no point in them being in LA. But that was an owner thing, and who knows if that's ever going to change. You're in LA, you're in probably the fifth biggest economy in the world is LA itself. So there's really no room for expansion. There really isn't for the NFL. You can name 5-6 other cities that would be great for it. Orlando would, San Antonio would, but and there's a couple other, and you can name some oddballs like Omaha and remember St. Louis and there's just a handful of other ones. Memphis could be up there, but that's unfortunately where we get to the next piece. You got a lot of cities that don't have NFL. What's your next biggest thing? Well, your minor league is now your spring leagues, the XFL and the USFL. The XFL had 1 year, did actually very well, and then the pandemic hit, and they had to fold just because of COVID. The USFL did their first season in a hotspot in Birmingham with no fans, and it actually did really well with no fans. Birmingham won the title because it was held in Birmingham, but not like it made a big difference or anything. The following year, they did 4. Birmingham still won, but you know there was a certain city who played Birmingham in the USFL championship game. You know who it was? It's Pittsburgh. And I'll tell you what, there's an easy situation for this. And there's a lot of cities that do not have naturally major football. And you also want to know that there's going to be a lot of people that come out of college and they want to have somewhere to play if they can't make an NFL franchise, let alone the practice squad. So that's where the spring leagues are coming in. You're either having certain places that you're going to actually have places to actually try out. It's either the spring leagues, it's either Canadian football. There's actually the football league that's actually in Europe now that actually they do legitimately play, and there's like 15 some teams in it that nobody knows about. And it's arena football. There's the National Arena League is now the new Arena Football League, and there's still a handful of teams there. So you have places you can try out to actually want to continue playing football and actually make a living out of it. But the spring leagues is definitely going to hit. It's going to be big with bettors. It's going to be big with the gambling situation. But currently, there is the official word that both of those leagues, the XFL and the USFL, are going to merge, which is probably the right thing to do. You have 8 teams in each thing. Put them together, you got 16, and simply enough, you can just make them both your conferences, and there you go. But in case you don't realize what's going on, the XFL has teams. DC has the DC Defenders, Arlington Renegades, Orlando Guardians, the Vegas Vipers, St. Louis Battlehawks, who had the biggest attendance in there, the Seattle Sea Dragons, and then the team that is named after The Rock, the San Antonio Brahmas. There's also the Houston Roughnecks, but Houston has a little bit of the caveat. Houston also has a team in the USFL, and it's the Gamblers. I remember the USFL in 1983 when I was watching TV with my dad and we're watching football during the spring. And the Houston Gamblers were around. And then I still remember half the other teams. The Pittsburgh Maulers were one of them. And then there was the Stars, the Generals, the Panthers, Birmingham Stallions was the big one. The New Orleans Breakers, who moved 3 times. And the Tampa Bay Bandits was the other one. The Memphis Showboats was the other one. Right now, it's a simple process of you have 2 Houston teams. Houston, you have a problem. Pick one. You pick one. The other one is gone. Tampa Bay, who was on a sabbatical this past year, comes back. Memphis was the new team. Tampa Bay was the team that took a sabbatical. Come back. You have your 16 teams. Done. Work your magic for next year. Work your magic for people that didn't get a chance to get drafted in the NFL draft, but they can jump into the new UFL that's going to be coming up. It's going to be fun because, but a lot of those new rules that they started doing, the NFL is going to start copying some of that stuff. It's going to be interesting. I really think it's going to be something different for a lot of sports fans and a lot of different stuff. But there's a lot of cities that still remember some of the old teams that should just come out like that. There was the LA Extreme. I remember the XFL from 2001. It was the LA Extreme, the San Francisco Demons that they played in the ball. They actually played in Oracle Park where the Giants play. There was the New York, New Jersey Hitmen, the Chicago Enforcers, the Memphis Maniacs, in which their logo looked like Frank Zappa. I remember that. That was the Vince McMahon era. It did okay. The first couple weeks it was fun, but yeah, it's going to be a crazy change when it comes to putting everything together. But you're not a fan of our expansion, then this video is not for you. But it's good talk to have when you are with your buddies, putting down a freaking 6-pack in a dive bar, and just thinking, well, I don't really talk about this, and that. Well, when they start going full throttle in 2024 and 2025. You're going to wonder why there's going to be other stuff to watch besides baseball and besides the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup. And there's a lot of stuff to watch. Definitely is. And I like this talk. It's all for it. We're all for it. You can look all those up on Google. You can look all those little teams' name up, make your own, whatever. It'd be fun. It's a good, fun watch. And you know another thing? I'm actually glad you got a chance to hang out with me and you got to watch this. It's a good talk for everybody, and I hope that maybe this is a little bit of a push forward for those people that, you know, they can watch all the YouTube videos on expansion and all this stuff and the spring football crap that's going on. Well, it's my turn, and I'm glad I got a chance to share it with you. So if you like a lot of this stuff that we're doing, we do more of this, whether it's the entertainment world, a little bit of hockey talk, a little bit of sports talk, a lot of life talk. We do it all. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we do really appreciate you because we want to keep this thing going. And I really do appreciate you hanging out, and you're dealing with my dorkiness. I really do. I'm going to shut this down. Leave a comment. What do you think of the spring football? You think it's too much? Do you think the expansion thing is little enough? Always like to hear your comments. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. I am Jimmy Jam. This is Jimmy Jam Sessions, and it is a godforsaken blessing that you came and hang out with us today. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this channel. I will see you bloody legends in the next one, and as always, the bar is flipping closed.